Yaniv, get ready to pull it off the stick. Get off the sticks. All right, let's go. Time to go. Okay. Guys, come on, everyone move. Everyone move now.
Jaw-dropping images and moments this afternoon. Iran unleashing a barrage of missiles against Israel, coming really in 3 waves. Israel bracing for more tonight and more days of conflict as well. With that, we bring in Trey Yanks live from Tel Aviv for the very latest on the street there. He has just been to one of the areas that was damaged in these attacks. Hi, Trey.
Yeah, Martha, good afternoon. Overnight, the Israelis launched widespread strikes against Iranian targets, hitting the country's nuclear facilities and also targeting their top nuclear scientists and members of the IRGC. The Iranians have responded to those ongoing strikes with a ballistic missile attack against Israel in 2 separate waves, around 100 missiles striking the central part of this country. You can see they are still taking injured people out of this area of Tel Aviv. It's a densely populated, both commercial and residential area. We've seen children being taken from here, one elderly woman, and even pets. As the Israelis are preparing for the possibility of more Iranian retaliation, we do understand they are continuing strikes against Iran. Tonight, the IDF telling Fox News that the Israelis struck a number of Iranian air bases and their own missile defense system outside of the capital of Tehran. We just received a press release from the top medical facility in Israel that is coordinating the evacuations of the injured from this ballistic missile attack that you saw live on Fox. They say 34 people were injured from strikes in this area. One woman is in critical condition, others taken to local hospitals. But again, tonight, Israel is bracing for the possibility of more ballistic missile attacks as this country is now in a direct conflict with the Iranian regime. Martha?
Trey Yanks, thank you very much. Let's take it around the table and get reaction to what we were watching unfold this afternoon. Katie, let me start with you. It was clear that Israel felt for some time, I think, that the moment had to be now. You had Israel had depleted Iran's defensive capabilities along the border and had taken out so much of their leadership. And Iran, understanding that, I think, was getting closer and closer to a nuclear weapon.
Well, the Iranians have been waging this war for 50 years. This is not something new for the Iranian regime. And the Israelis have done the legwork over the last, really, 2 years to make sure that this was a success. They took out Hezbollah, which is Iran's most heavily armed, most sophisticated terrorist organization in Lebanon. They've done a number on Hamas in the Gaza Strip. They took out their air defenses last October. And they've also been able to help the people in Iran who are against the regime not only try and topple the leadership there that has been so oppressive to them, but also been able to turn many of them into assets for the Mossad and for their intelligence agencies to be able to go in ahead of time and get rid of a number of assets in terms of the ballistic missile launching pads, cyber attacks, et cetera, knowing where these military leaders were last night, the fact that the Israelis got rid of the entire top line, essentially, of the military commanders in Iran in a matter of 6 or 7 hours. It's very clear that the Iranian people hate the regime as much as the Israelis do. And so they've laid the groundwork here for this to be a success. The bottom line is that the Iranians have been given time after time after time many different presidential administrations in the United States to make good on coming to a deal in good faith. During the Iran deal under Obama, they lied their way through that deal, which is why President Trump pulled them out of it. President Trump said 61, 62 days ago, I'm giving you a deadline. If you want to come to the table and have a real discussion about this, we don't want to end this violently. If you don't, things are going to happen.
Guys, I want to stop right there real quick. You want to continue watching this because this is one of the most honest and fiery breakdowns of the Israel-Iran conflict that I've seen anywhere on TV. And this is exactly why conservatives are done trusting the mainstream narrative. But I do want to ask, guys, if you don't mind, do me a big favor, hit that thumbs up like button to support the channel, guys, so that we can continue bringing this content to you every single day. Guys, Donald Trump is trying to stay out of this conflict right now. But when I think about it, I think the reason that Israel struck now is because of Donald Trump. because he knows that he's going to have support from the United States when they really need it. I think it was very decisive. I was just thinking, as I'm watching these clips, imagine, guys, that Joe Biden had won the presidency and that he was president right now. Israel had to make a move. Iran had almost developed their nuclear weapon program to weapons capability. Israel had to do what they had to do. We're going to talk more about this, about how they're taking this more as a scalpel. But these strikes hitting in Tel Aviv, Israel, guys, that's scary. Like, watching those clips, I was just like, my goodness, imagine that you've got missiles like that raining down on cities here. All right, let's continue watching this discussion, guys, because I'm telling you, it's very important.
He's not a bluffer, and day 61 rolled around, and the Israelis got the green light, and they have to defend their country. And one more thing I would just say is this is about preventing a nuclear war. There's a lot of talk about, oh, people are starting a war. This is about preventing nuclear proliferation in a region where all of the Arab states around Israel may not say it publicly, but they are happy that this is happening today because they are all on the side of taking out the regime.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a couple of places. Russia, I thought it was very ironic that Putin volunteered to run the negotiations for a ceasefire. I mean, between these two, it's like, I think he's got his own problems. And President Trump does not like war. He doesn't want war. And he made that very clear to the leadership in Iran. He said, make a deal. It's very simple. You just have to be provably not pursuing a nuclear weapons program. And you can pursue a great economy in your country. But Jessica, explain why, Elizabeth Warren, Tim Kaine come out lashing out against Israel for taking this action. I thought it was very interesting that Senator Kaine said, why are they launching a military attack before a diplomatic discussion? What?
I am in such awe of the IDF and Mossad. And that's where I want to begin. And this was so precise that you can look at the buildings that they went into and you see a little hole, and then it went straight into the nuclear scientist's bedroom, took him. Then you see a little hole, and it went into the room where they had managed to get all of the IRGC commanders.
At 1,000 miles away.
1,000 miles away. And the footage of the soldiers, the Israeli soldiers on the ground, risking their lives, who've been stationed over there to be able to pull this off. We are going to see a new season of Tehran, Homeland, whatever it is, between this and Project Grim Beeper. I don't know if that's the formal name. And shout out as well to the Ukrainians for the spiderweb operation as well for what they pulled off. You have seen the might and the will of people trying to defend themselves and their sovereign nations coming to life in spectacular fashion. And so I think that's where everyone should begin with this. You can't look at what happened last night from the Israeli side, and I know that we will have a larger discussion about what this turns into, but there are no civilian casualties here, right? Everyone who was taken out was a terrorist, and everyone who was taken out is responsible not only for Israeli deaths, but American deaths as well. So I don't want to hear anything like, what are we doing, or there's going to be a diplomatic negotiation. They can still show up, right? But their hand had been minimized over the last several months. I mean, it's interesting to think back to October 7th and how powerful they all thought that they seemed. I don't know if they would take it back because they killed a bunch of Jews, and that is a top priority for them. But look what the Middle East looks like today compared to October 6th. Right? I think there are some folks who, well, they're dead, so they definitely would want to go into a time machine, but who would want to go back in time and say, well, maybe we should just lay off a little bit and figure out a different approach to that. That is how I'm feeling today.
Guys, it's too late at this point. See, Iran had an opportunity. Trump was trying to play nice with them. It's all too late at this point because the leaders of Iran have so much pride. And I'm going to show you the rest. We're going to show you the rest of this clip, guys. Trust me. But there's only one way, and be sure you catch this, guys, because this is so important. There's only way that I see that Iran survives this, and that's that the people of Iran have to rise up and overthrow their government. 100%, that's got to be what happens. Now, Iran's already shut down the internet across their entire country to try to keep people from organizing. Elon Musk is involved trying to get Starlink so that people can actually organize, come together. That's the only way Iran survives, is if the people of Iran wake up, overthrow their government. It's the only way it ends well. Only way, guys, because now there's so much pride built up. The leaders of Iran are not going to surrender. Keep watching this clip, guys. It gets more and more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they awoke a not-so-sleeping giant on October 7th, Charlie. And I think that it was such a painful for them intelligence failure October 7th.
Such a
that
mistake.
They have worked so hard to do these meticulous operations that Jessica outlines, and it is stunning. And I find it interesting that there are Democrats who are trying to search for ways to support this country that chants death to America, or this leadership, I should say, and has so many people in it that want them gone.
Unless you're Tim Walz, and then you find some way to give credit to the Chinese, which is absolutely baffling. But we're kind of used to seeing these surgical strikes by the IDF and Mossad. The depth and breadth of this is kind of shocking. The surgical nature of it, because they did manage to avoid, as best we can tell, pretty much any civilian casualties whatsoever. I also think that it's important to kind of step back and look at the big picture. And you think about the fact that Israel is on the offense here, and you have Iran on the defense. If you look back over the past 20 years, you've had two administrations, Barack Obama and then Joe Biden, who continued the Obama policies, where they really did everything they could to sort of encourage and promote Iran's leadership in the Middle East. And then and of course, Joe Biden, when he became president, was the most highly regarded diplomat around the world. And he brought nothing but war and mayhem. And then you could take a guy like Donald Trump, who had no diplomatic experience whatsoever, and managed to put up extraordinary achievements in his first term, including giving us the Abraham Accords and finding a peace that would have seemed unimaginable for decades before that, and very much put. And I think that as much as anything was the cause of the October 7th attack, because Iran and their proxies in the Middle East realized that we were looking at maybe Saudi Arabia and Israel coming together in a way that no one thought was possible, and so they had to lash out. And I see all of this as kind of a continuation of that. And I think that President Trump tried to kind of keep it at arm's length. They talked about last night. Marco Rubio said that this was a unilateral action by Israel. Obviously, they knew what was going on. But the idea that you have this going on that we see on the camera, and then you see President Trump still standing there outside of Iran saying, but the door to peace is open. Come to us, and we will.
Second chance.
We'll negotiate. And I just think that it's common sense. And you're right. He does not. He's not a war guy. And I think this is the greatest chance at peace that we've ever imagined in 20 years.
Guys, I absolutely love what Donald Trump is doing. If you support how Donald Trump is treating this whole situation, guys, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Because he's trying to stay out of the conflict. He's trying not to get the United States embroiled in another war. But at the same time, we're there to support and help Israel where they need it. And notice, they're protecting Israel. We're shooting down rockets. The U.S. is there. We're active. We're protecting. But we're not actively helping attack Iran. And I love that stance from Donald Trump, because he's trying to keep America out of it so that we're not getting more and more involved there in the Middle East. But anyway, guys, again, let me know what you think down in the comments. A little bit more on this clip here, but I want to show you this last conversation here.
Potential for a reset in the Middle East is pretty large right now. Greg, what do you think when you look at all this?
Well, you can't say Trump didn't warn Iran. I mean, he said 60 days, and yesterday was 61. So they were on their own. Trump is like the friend of an MMA fighter at a bar who's being harassed by a drunk guy. And Trump's trying to help out the drunk guy, saying, dude, may not be a good idea to mess with this guy. I know he looks small, but looks could be deceiving. That's what he was telling Iran. He was basically saying, we're giving you a chance here. And they ignored him. And like the drunk, they got their asses kicked. I'm with Jessica on the IDF, but I have to, it is, whether you're for this engagement or not, you just go, wow. Whether it was the beepers, you can go all the way back to the raid on Entebbe. It's like you're watching a professional billiards player pull off an impossible trick shot and without touching another ball, but the one they sunk. And it's the polar opposite of Israel's enemies who use blunt force, indiscriminate of innocence, whether it's October 7th or even these wayward missile strikes from Iran. You know, it's like Israel uses a scalpel, their enemies use a mallet, and they do the and they have to. Now, you know, what is it? But it still bugs me though. What is it about Israel and the IDF that is so offensive to, say, the Jewish left in America, or let's say the white liberals in general, Jessica notwithstanding, a nice exception? David Mamet talks about it in his book, The Unenlightenment. It challenges their belief of passivity. They believe that, you know, in the face of people who don't like you, to discourage attack, you just kind of get along, you submit. And Jews have been doing that for a long time. You would think October 7th would have changed all that. And it felt like it did, but then time heals all outrages, and we saw it on our campuses. There's no bottom to this passivity. It just keeps going. And it's there in the face of radical Islam. It was also there in the face of identity politics. If you were deemed responsible for oppression, you know, our white leaders would bow down before it. We were bad, you know, but the IDF in Israel, when you look at it, whether you are for it or against it, they challenge this worldview that you have to be passive. You shouldn't be Woody Allen. You should be Max Baer. You know, in Israel, it's a battle. In America, you can have the TED Talks.
Guys, if you support Israel's right to defend itself and you're tired of weak leadership in Washington, and thankfully, finally, we have a strong leader in Donald Trump, do me a big favor, hit that thumbs up like button right now, because it helps push this truth past the censorship and into the feeds of Americans who need to hear this. This wasn't just a military response, guys. This was a message. Don't mess with Israel. Iran launched more than 100 missiles into civilian areas of Israel. Civilian areas. Children were injured. Elderly women were pulled from the rubble. And what did Israel do? They responded with surgical strikes, guys, that decimated Iran's nuclear infrastructure and their military leadership without a single confirmed civilian casualty. That's what moral warfare looks like. And I think that the five nailed it. Katie Pavlich, Jessica Tarloff, yes, even a liberal, Greg Gutfeld, all agreed, guys. This was precision. This was discipline. This was courage in the face of evil. Mossad and the IDF didn't retaliate out of rage. They executed a strategy that they've been building for years. And once again, President Trump was right. 60 days ago, he warned Iran, stop pursuing nuclear weapons or face the consequences. Day 61, Iran gets hit. Trump doesn't bluff, guys. He leads. Let's not forget, under Biden and Obama, Iran was empowered, given billions of dollars, allowed to lie their way through fake diplomacy, and now some of the same Democrats, Tim Kaine, Elizabeth Warren, have the audacity to scold Israel for defending itself. Guys, whose side are they on? This isn't just about Israel either, guys. This is about the free world standing up to the axis of evil. It's about calling out the left's hypocrisy. Always ready to condemn our allies. Notice that. The left is always ready to condemn our allies, always making excuses for those that are chanting death to America. Israel uses a scalpel. Iran uses a mallet. The IDF goes after terrorists. Iran goes after children. And the only reason anyone's questioning this moment is because the left is allergic to strength. Guys, it's so infuriating that the left has lost their mind to this level. You want peace? Then support strength. Support sovereignty. Support truth. Guys, that's what it is. It's just lies. It's just lies from the left. If you're with me, guys, drop a comment down below. I want to hear from you. Make sure to subscribe, guys, for more bold conservative commentary. No spin, no apologies. And if you want to go a step further and support this mission, consider becoming a channel member today. All right, guys, this is Nolan Alders. And guys, we're just getting started.